Hi. Very good evening to everyone. My name is Leslie from DeFi Singapore. And as per every Wednesday nights, we are going live with our coffee shop panelists. They are going to share a little bit more about what the DeFi space has been moving for the last 1 week or so. And this week itself, I kind of lost one of my panelists, but let's hope he comes back. Let's just hope that he was able to come back in from India, all the way from KL. We have John, right? John from Synergy. Welcome, John.
What's up, Leslie?
And we have Dunstan as well, right? From Singapore FIDO Protocol, right? So. Hi guys. So if Siddharth comes in, we will bring him in. Okay. Unfortunately, I'm not sure about the connection issues. Sadly, he was okay with us for just 1 second before we had to go live. And yeah, so if you guys have just joined the channel, please give us a shout out. We do take questions along the way. If you guys have any questions and you're watching this live, do post us some questions. Hit us on those hard questions. I've got my OG in the space. The OG, wave your hands. He doesn't want to represent. Yeah, yeah. OG in the house. Yeah, Dunstan. He will be giving out all the shit that he needs to give out if he needs to. As per normal in this channel, we will ask him to wear the mask whenever he needs to talk shit about something. Of course, we have our brains, right? John from Synergy, one of the licensed exchanges in Malaysia. As you can see, he's all serious. So let's hope that he smiles a bit more when he talks to us. Sometimes get scared with talking to him, but John doesn't bite. So let's just go into this session. So how the format goes is as such, guys. It's free for all. So because it's live, it's just like what we have in terms of having coffee. We really miss those days that we could just go have a cup of coffee after those conferences, and that's how this came about. So let's go in the first session. First question for tonight. Tonight's hot news: cryptocurrency money manager Pen Roxa seeks to raise up 50 million for new hedge fund to buy digital tokens associated with fast-growing decentralized finance DeFi sector. Guys, what are your thoughts on this, man?
John?
Yeah.
We've got Siddharth back. Yeah, yay.
I'll wait first.
No worries. Yeah. Welcome. So before we go into the question again, Siddharth, would you like to make a short introduction? Because I already made the introductions for our previous panelists. Yeah, could you just give us a short brief of who you are, what you're doing in the space? And give your motto,
Sure.
man. I remember.
All right. So we are a research, rating, and an intelligence company which focuses on the blockchain and crypto space. We are very strong in the APAC region. We have a unique matrix which assesses crypto assets. We are building a new one which focuses on the DeFi instruments as well. And we have a comprehensive research database of 2,500 plus crypto projects globally. And yeah, we are there since almost 2.5, 3 years. And we work with governments, regulators, investors, trying to regulate the industry and stop the scams.
Right. So you are the scam buster, basically, right?
Yeah. So if you invest in any project, you say, "Have you been tobaccoed?" which Leslie invented this tagline. So yes.
That's nice. Thanks for the heads up. So the question that I was asking the panelists earlier was, the recent news for today is really hot, right? The money manager, the hedge fund manager, Pen Roxa, seeks to raise 50 million to buy digital tokens on the DeFi sector. What are your thoughts? So, John, you go first. You have the floor. Come, let's hear your thoughts.
My thoughts. Yeah, I mean, this is another hedge fund entering the space, but I mean, it's good to see, from a DeFi perspective, it's good to see the the professionals looking at the space. They're already here, of course. You have all the DEX is just market making platforms. You've got the likes of Jump Trading and guys like this who are almost certainly definitely already involved. But yeah, I mean, it's good. They got 50 million, which isn't by hedge fund means it's not a lot, but I mean in terms of crypto hedge funds, it's decent. It's probably it's good to see. I think I said on previous weeks that there is definitely something to DeFi. There is definitely added value to the ecosystem. There's a lot of people holding crypto assets, and they want those crypto assets to yield instead of just spend some time doing nothing in cold storage. So this is just another indication that, I mean, we obviously had a big drop this week across all markets. And maybe they're getting in at a good time with a decent buying opportunity, but the only time will tell.
Okay, Siddharth, you want to go next?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
DeFis are really, really new instruments, which were, they are more in the experimental stage. So this is where Bitcoin was, I think 5 or 6 years ago. It was very volatile, and it was very risky to get into. And DeFi is going through the same thing. Now, we all see that Bitcoin has become more stable. That's because more adoption has come in, more institutional investors have entered this market, and the order books are quite healthy. So any asset becomes more stable when there are more people investing in that asset. There is more money involved. So when Panzora has taken a decision of investing 50 million in DeFi space, comparatively it's a very small amount, but more and more investors and users, when they come in, the asset becomes more stable and less speculative. So I see it as a very good decision, but at the same time, the early movers' disadvantage is that it is very volatile, and you have to test the waters before you jump in.
They are about to raise, basically, right? They have not raised yet, right? I mean, if I'm reading the article correctly. So from what I'm reading, they're seeking to consist of I think they haven't raised yet. I think they are seeking to raise.
They haven't raised, but I'm not sure if they've raised or not. But even if they announce something like that, it is in the right direction. But of course, it is risky.
Oh, it says here scheduled to start trading on November 2nd, right? So can we expect a raise? Can we expect a price, jump when the time comes? It's November 2nd, right? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is not very far, so it's worth taking a shot.
That's it. Come.
Okay, so what I'm actually looking at is it is true that it is actually good for more capital to come into our space. The amount that's coming in by this hedge fund isn't actually a lot, even comparative to our space. But it's a good stepping stone. It's a good dipping their feet in the water. However, I think DeFi is exciting, or like cryptocurrencies is exciting because of the volatility actually, and not as a trader, but just as a common layman, right? The volatility is the one that will actually help the common man, up. Because volatility means that there will be consistent price changes, and this is where they can, like even a common layman can start trading. They can start buying and selling without much knowledge and just depend on volatility. Like say for example, right? If let's say this fund starts buying, right? They are not gonna buy from the DeFi space. What they're gonna do is they're gonna buy from the traditional centralized cryptocurrency exchanges. So which means that only a certain number of the DeFi tokens would be affected. Yeah, so the capital
Provided
is
if
gonna
the
flow.
central exchanges list the DeFi tokens, right?
Yeah,
So
so
that's
which is why it's only limited to those that the centralized exchanges actually list when it comes to
Mm.
effects from this fund. Obviously, however, the fact that they are coming in already, there's a bit of hype, and there's a potential. Like what I've been telling people, I'm expecting a pump
Mm.
in
October itself.
October itself.
Yeah.
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 So
Cool. Cool.
this will give us a nice end to the year of the year 2000, the year of crap, where we expect like maybe an alien invasion coming at the end of the year. Maybe on 31st of October, something is gonna happen.
Dunstan, when you say, I mean, you did mention last week that you expect October to be a good month. Is that market wide, or are you talking specifically DeFi?
I'm talking market wide actually. So I think a couple of weeks ago, I was also giving hints on the fact that there's gonna be a dump pretty soon. I mean, it just happened yesterday. Well, the day before actually. So yeah, the market looks like it's slightly recovered, but actually no, it's gonna go down a bit more. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so this is in preparation for the uh, rise that's gonna happen in October.
Mm. Mm. You
Yeah.
mentioned earlier that the opportunity for hedge fund managers like themselves purchasing through centralized exchanges. Do these centralized exchanges need to be licensed or non-licensed? Because I kind of helping John to ask this question. Basically, he's licensed, right? So yeah, maybe the both of you can answer this question. Yeah.
The if I could jump in, Leslie.
Yeah. Yes, please.
I mean, the hedge fund itself is registered in the Bahamas. So, or at least that's what it seems from the 5 minutes of research that I've done. Don't quote me on that, but I mean, definitely shows that they're working out the Bahamas, right? So, I mean, that's not necessarily that uncommon. This is tax jurisdiction, and we don't know what their term sheets like, what they're able. I mean, if they're able to invest in DeFi, it means they're or even tokens listed on Binance or OKX or Gemini or whoever's listing DeFi tokens, they still have they can still obviously take on a lot of risk. So I mean, we're talking about who knows whether it's ex finance professionals going into DeFi or whether it's just crypto guys who've made a bit of money, early adopters who are now launching a fund. Who knows? Maybe Dunstan can share on that. But
I seriously thought it's a degenerates, basically, right?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it looks fairly professional. But they've set it up in the Bahamas, so I mean, they can trade from anywhere. So I mean, they'll just go where the liquidity is. I mean, if it's any self-respecting hedge fund, whether it's regulated or not, doesn't really matter.
I want to ask you that. Are you able to check a company in Bahamas?
Yeah, I can definitely check if it is registered. But what happens is it's similar to what was the era in during the ICOs. Some companies used to incorporate themselves in some like Virgin Islands or Bahamas or Panama and all these places where it's a tax-free havens, and there are very low compliances to be followed. So if fiat money is coming into that hedge fund, then registration is required. But if crypto is coming in, they don't really need a registration or something like that, because that's the whole idea. If they are accepting crypto, they don't really need a registration. It's just about that you trust what they're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Dunstan, you wanted to add something?
So on my end, I wanted to add something that John said. Just take note that most of the funds in the world, right, are usually not US or even Singapore, where registered funds, including funds of banks. We are talking about the major banks, the major families in the world, and so on. Most of their funds are not in a highly regulated environment itself. Why? Because when they set up these funds, right, they whether or not it's meant for money laundering or whatever it's meant for. But the main focus is they want to keep their liquidity somewhere where they can easily deploy in another region anytime, anywhere. So whether or not it's Bahamas, the Virgin Islands, Panama, and so on. I mean, you take a look, most of the major banks in the world, their funds are actually also registered in these jurisdictions.
Yeah, I mean, it's offshore, right?
Yeah.
It gives you tax benefits, and you can have. It also gives privacy because if you're some big family, you have a large amount of offshore assets. It's going to be managed by trustees, and there's going to be one, 2 or 3 layers, which nobody in the world is going to find out unless it comes out in the Panama Papers or the FinCEN files, for example. So, I mean, these jurisdictions are well known, and they set up. I mean, that's how they sort of provide the income for those clean beaches in the Bahamas, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't fault anyone on that score. But I mean, I think the main thing is that these sorts of funds will go where the liquidity is. Where there's an illiquid market, and you can't put 50 million into an illiquid market because you end up killing yourself on the slippage, and then your investors will be looking at you funny, So,
oh man, when you talk about slippage, I'm only reminded of Jefford when him and the Duran index basically. So yeah, where's Jefford when you need him? Yeah. Okay. Dunstan, I wanted to ask a little bit more in terms of your comment earlier that the markets were dipping. It's going to drop a little bit more before it goes up. Is there a cost to this? What's the analysis behind it? Obviously, you have some insights to this. Are you able to share, or you want to put on the mask? I don't know.
This is not something where I need to put on the mask for. So yeah, so technically, what's happening in the market is because it is about time for the LPs to start reaping and start exchanging out their cryptocurrencies, whether or not it's their ERC20 tokens to ETH, to USDT, to BTC, and so on. And when they start cashing out in these places, right, they might also cash out into USD itself, or like into fiat. So this is a time where a number of LPs have started cashing out. It's a normal cycle. I mean, like you see the ICO cycle, right? When the LPs come in, they expect to exit within a certain amount of time. And in the normal ICO smart contracts, those that are audited, right, you'll find that most of the LPs are actually locked for a certain period of time. But what about DeFi?
Right.
Are the LPs going to be locked? No, right? We have seen most of the smart contracts. There's no locking. But what the LPs are doing is the longer they put the liquidity there, a bit like a staking mechanism, the more they gain out of the more they gain an interest, whether or not the interest is in USDT, USD, or even in the ERC token in which they are staking. But they will get more in return, you see. So it's a cashing out cycle for now. So
are you talking about the yields per se that they are farming, or you're talking about the liquidity that they are providing in terms of the increase?
I'm talking in terms where they will now start taking out their liquidity and their yield, which is why the token prices and so on all start dipping.
Right.
So if you all notice, it starts with a BTC cycle, correct? The BTC prices drop first. Then we have the ETH, then the DeFi tokens. Why this happens is because their yield is changed into BTC and ETH, and then cash out into fiat. So this is the general cycle itself.
Right. Anyway, everyone wants to have a good Christmas, right? So
it's not yet Christmas.
Nearing towards
a good Halloween.
John, you wanted to say something. You wanted something to add? Yes, come, John.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting. Thanks, Dunstan. I would wonder why it would have. I mean, I know that their yield goes into BTC, ETH, USDT, and then they're going to cash some of that out. And it's interesting you say back into USD because one of the major things going on in the traditional markets right now is everyone is looking at the US dollar.
Yes.
Obviously, we breached 94 to the upside, right? And so that's the DXY, the dollar index, 94. And what's concerning about that, and so I have a slightly different opinion on the markets. I mean, I hope Dunstan's right with his
Please. Yeah.
with his October pump, but I mean, I'm looking at
the traditional markets, right?
I'm looking at the traditional markets, and I see exactly what you're saying with the the DeFi. It definitely looked like, I mean, if you just scan Twitter, people are talking about exit liquidity for ETH and they're trying to get in the next wave to get the so the LPs can get out, and I was thinking maybe they're switching that straight into that ETH into BTC, and that was why BTC held up. Yeah. But I mean, that's just something very specific. I mean, the DeFi market is, what we're seeing, 9 to 12 billion assets locked up, 9 to 12 billion, as you've mentioned before with the mask on. But whatever that number is, it's small fry in comparison. It's quite high in comparison to ETH's market cap. If it was 12 billion and ETH's got a market cap of 40 billion, that's quite a lot of that ETH, right? Then you've got all the USDT. I mean, I looked on Maker. Majority of Maker collateral is USDT or basically centralized stablecoins. So that's another interesting thing. But this whole market is max 12 billion, right? Max, right? But what we're seeing in terms, if you take a look at the traditional markets right across the board, you like from the 1st of September, you basically saw a stop run of the pre-COVID high, right? So the market. Market pumped, and then we had the big COVID dump, right? And then it pumped all the way from the lows all the way back up to August 31st, right? And then we had this drop, and the sentiment in the US equity markets is like, Tesla, Apple stock splitting, and everyone wants a piece of it. You've got the Robinhood traders, and everyone's like, everything's going to the moon. Like Tesla's trading at like 430 today or something.
Yeah,
and that like. Split like pre-split, that's like 2,000 something, and people are buying it willy-nilly, right? And everything's just taken a dump, led by the tech names. Apple's taken a dump, which is so goes Apple, so goes the market. That's the major bellwether, right? So you're looking at, and it's a dangerous time to be holding risk now. Like if you look at the VIX, the VIX is hovering at 26, right? And the VIX has been going up since, if I check my chart here, since the 16th, right? We've been like slowly sort of, like this, right? Up on the VIX. And that just means that, there's fear in the market. VIX is the fear index, right? That just means there's fear and uncertainty. And with the dollar going up, that means that, and all markets going down, the BTC won't necessarily survive a strong dollar. Strong dollar hits everything. It's what they call deflationary, right? So it's going to hit gold. It's going to hit BTC. Arthur's pocket rockets. Raoul, whatever his face is from Real Vision, right? He's long gold BTC. It's going to hit obviously equity markets. US equity markets, and so it's going to take everybody down. And the timing of it, like 1st of September, comes straight in, and then everything gets hit across the board, right? Hopefully it's temporary. The dollar will continue going back down again, and the Fed will go burr, and markets will continue to rally. But remember, this has happened around the time that Ruth Bader Ginsburg just died, and we're coming up. We got the US election coming up, right? So it's going to be huge macro political events coming.
With the elections that's coming up, right? Usually right after the elections, whoever they choose, it doesn't really matter. They would have to reduce the value of the USD actually, and start printing, rather than to make it stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So big.
Yeah. No.
I
mean, definitely.
Have to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about perception of the risk in the in the market, right? If people are scared, they're going to run to their safe havens.
Yep.
So the safest place to hold your money is US bonds. And if
The
you're a
safest
foreigner and
place
you're,
to hold is actually in BTC.
oh
not
yeah, I
here.
mean, like that. I mean, I would agree with you. So would what's his name from MicroStrategy, right? It's a but I can't put 100 billion into BTC.
No,
If I put
yeah,
100 billion into
we
BTC, it would kill me, right? You know, the market would go mental, and then everyone would sell into me, and then I'd be left with like 10 billion left, right? Right.
Thank
So
you,
if
John. Thank you.
If I've got 100 billion, right, I can only put it in the US bond market or the Japanese bond market or the European bond market, right? And the safest place is the US bond market, right?
It is.
So if I'm scared and I'm looking at the VIX and VIX is going higher, probably means I'm scared in the market. Then it means I'm going put my money in the safest place it can be, which is US treasuries.
The highest bond market, actually.
And that's exactly, and that's what will pump. That's what I'm hoping that market is what I'm hoping the DeFi and everything over the years will end up replacing, right? That's how we get to hyper Bitcoinization, right? But for now, if people are afraid, they'll go into treasuries, and that's going to pump the dollar, right? I mean, just a basic kind of. I mean, it's probably more complex than that, but just looking at it from a basic standpoint.
Yes.
And you know, who knows what? I mean, we get delving into like, you know, mask wearing territory now, but I mean, like, you know, with the Supreme Court justice, you know, place needing to be filled, you've got an election coming up. No one seems to like Donald Trump.
You got an asteroid passing by Earth on the US election day, whether or not
right.
it hit Earth is another thing.
You've got a solar. It's, you know, it was the autumnal equinox yesterday,
right? Yeah,
right.
You've got
a solar eclipse, right? You've got the winter solstice, right? You've got you've got a conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn on like all around the same time, right? So if you're into, I mean, Siddharth probably knows more about like the Vedic astrology than I do. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, 2020.
It's like everything is going at the same time.
Literally, right? And this is all like 20 years after the last time we had similar things like that, right? In 01, right? Around the same time,
Yes.
September, remember? So it's going to be a real interesting end to the year. And I just, because all this is happening in November, I struggle to believe in November, December. I struggle to believe in like Dunstan's October pump, Santa rally. I would love that to be the case. But I'm like,
it could ride over to November. You never know.
I'm looking at like, I don't know, February or something, you know, when the sun starts shining again, like 2021, when my spouse visa's up for renewal. I reckon that's when we're going to start seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. I'm a bit more bearish, to be honest. Dunstan's right.
I'm going to take my comment back earlier that John's really serious about, you know, like he's the brains behind this. The amount of humor that he has, the dry wit that he has given to us. I mean, he goes with this pen-faced look, right? And he goes on, you know, in this monotone voice, you know, all seriousness, and he goes around telling you know, brew with winter solace and all. I'm like,
I had to prepare for the coffee.
The dry humor.
I just think here, you know, to add what John and Dunstan were just discussing, you know, so I see at these markets as, you know, like every 10 years on an average, 8 to 10 years, we see a recession. And since the 2008 subprime crisis, you know, since that time when Bitcoin was just born around 2009, a recession was due in 2019. And I think because of the Trump government, he wanted to, I'm just assuming that he wants the markets to be out of a recession phase, because when we see the history of United States, no you know, president has returned to his term during the recession time. So probably he must be holding on to it, but COVID came and triggered the recession. And because of this, we are now in more of a depression kind of a phase, which I believe will last for a little more longer, probably 2021 end or 2022, the first half. And of course, we can't rely on the US dollar, and crypto is, of course, I mean, not as big as $100 billion, like what you guys were saying earlier, but yeah, crypto is a very good space right now, because this is the time where Bitcoin is actually showing its relevance, that, you know, it's a debt-free instrument, which is actually decentralized in nature. It's not pegged to the political situations or the financial situations globally. So I think it's a very good time for the decentralized world to prove its point. You know, this is like, I see that in a 1.5 years, a lot more people will come into the DeFi and the existing crypto space.
Nice.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I
Sida,
mean,
for the point. Yep.
I think.
So yes, John, continue. Yes, you have
No,
more.
I just want to add on, you know, like we've seen a really strong correlation between crypto and US equities. You know, almost like, you know, crypto is another FANG, you know, another tech stock, like, you know, Apple or Amazon, you know, the market leaders basically. And that's kind of why I'm bearish across all markets. You know, like, this looks like a deflationary dump. It looks like it's intended because of the election, you know, push US into recession to try and get Donald out. That's my honest opinion, right? So that's kind of one of those mask opinions, right? But that's kind of the way I see it. But I am bullish. I do see upside. I think he'll win. And like, to circle back to what Dunstan said, is once the president decided, the Fed just get on back. They forget about the politics of the situation. They're like, we got to rescue our portfolio, and they'll start pumping again, right? That's so. I think you get through the election, you have whatever aftermath, you know, if there's some shenanigans with the voting and no one wants to decide who's won, which I also fully expect. It could be early next year, but when we are through that phase, I expect everything to move, and crypto must follow. Given the correlation, it must follow a rally in US equities, right? And to circle back to what I said at the beginning, the sentiment's so high and frothy in US equity markets, like as of August, right, that you just don't get a big moon boom when everyone thinks it's going to go up. When everyone thinks it's going to go up, it drops. And so I think the question now, between now and either October, as Dunstan says, or February, as I say, is how low do we go? Are we going to retest the COVID lows, right? It's got to be bad such that everybody...
The degenerates will tell me, say, go as low as possible, man.
It's got to be bad enough that everybody's just, you know... the worse it is, the higher it goes in, you know, when it does start going up.
Interesting. This is it's so interesting that I'm having 3 brainiacs in today's session. Oh my god, today's session I should just call it as a brainiac session, man. I'm feeling a bit too noob here, basically, as a newbie. Usually in the sessions we have one newbie will kind of pause everyone to say, hey guys, I think you guys lost me for a moment, but but thank you guys for sharing such in-depth insights on this. We do have a question from our audience. I think we should have some time to address this. It comes from Seely. What would your advice be to crypto companies and projects to be taken more seriously by institutional investors? So I guess this is for, let's go with Siddharth. Yes, since you are doing the checks in the space, right? So come.
All right. So for institutional investors, it is most of the institutional investors, they come from they deal a lot with banks, and I would say they have a lot of banking backgrounds, and bankers don't like crypto. So that's one of the major hurdles which crypto is facing. Why institutional money is not coming, because all institutional investors, they have somebody from the banking side to help them get their finances in order and arrange the flow of money into something. And crypto is something which they don't like at all. So I would just say that now is a good time where you should put about I mean any institutional or probably even an individual investor should because see all the equity markets and the crypto market, they are relatively risky at this point of time. We don't know if it's going to go up or down because the entire market sentiment is a little dicey. So this is a good time to invest in crypto as a hedge. With I mean, if you're buying say 5 to 7% of your portfolio in crypto, you are kind of buying insurance for the remaining 95% of your equity or bonds or cash, whatever you're holding. So I mean, it's definitely worth a try. And if institutional investors come with just 5% of their portfolio values in crypto, crypto markets will start performing even better because the volume of money will make it more stable. And of course, given the basics of Bitcoin, the more the basics of demand supply, there will be more people buying Bitcoin, the price will go up. Just for Bitcoin I'm talking, not for the DeFi, and it's all the other instruments are quite speculative. But yeah, looking at Bitcoin, I see that's a very good opportunity.
Nice. Siddharth, just on that note, in India itself, what's the landscape like? With this crypto companies and projects, is the sentiment great? Or I've seen the news, right? The government is trying to ban the cryptocurrencies. What's your take on that? Since you are in the space, basically.
We are working. So we had a conversation with the guy who made the bill of banning cryptocurrencies. Now he's retired, so he agreed to come on a webinar with us, and we asked him that why do you make such a bill? So basically, what we figured out is their understanding about crypto and blockchain and everything was almost nothing. They did not understand. And when we say cryptocurrency, they thought that this is a counterfeit currency or something which is there to challenge the Indian rupee. And based on that, they came out with a ban kind of a draft bill. So that bill is not approved. It's just what do you call, a suggestion to the government, and this could be done. But when we see the possibility of implementing that bill, it is impossible. You cannot see the Indian crypto space has grown quite a bit. We've got about 6 to 7 million users already.
Nice.
And it's growing rapidly. And of course, Asians have this mentality of saving, of investing into new instruments. So the growth since the COVID time in India has gone up. So we are seeing new users on exchanges. Right now, the scenario is unregulated. We are working on a representation with a few top law firms, trying to submit it to the government. But the ban thing is just a clickbait. I don't see a ban happening. Out of the G20 nations, I think 18 have. I mean, they don't criminalize or ban it. They accept it. They let the ecosystem evolve. But criminalizing it, that if you own Bitcoin, you'll go for jail to 10 years and stuff like that. It's all bullshit. It cannot be. I mean, it was there in the draft bill that if you buy Bitcoin in India, or you're doing mining, or you're doing anything with crypto, you may be jailed for 10 years. But it is stupid. You cannot jail 5.5, 6 million users, and you don't even know if they own Bitcoin or not. So it was a very unthought bill. They did not think twice before doing anything. They thought this could be implemented, but it's not possible. And they cannot ban it. If they do it, it'll be a shame. They will have to take it back. Yeah.
John, come. You have something to say?
Just another sort of India-related question. I guess when your Prime Minister Modi just decided to erase the 500 rupee note.
Yeah.
I mean,
demonetization.
That's a good study, man. Yep.
I mean, that kind of speaks almost the opposite. They're going towards a society. They're trying to get more things in the light in terms of people paying taxes. I would imagine. I imagine you got a lot more crypto users after that bill too.
Yeah. What has happened in India is that there are a lot of OTC trades, so people who have cash, if it's like if Leslie's got a Bitcoin, I give him cash, take his Bitcoin, so I'm off the books, something like that. So a lot of people. I mean, I'm just giving an example. So the people in India who want to be off the books, not pay taxes, are using this method of getting into this ecosystem. But it's not right. And that is, why it is happening is because the government has scared the shit out of people. They don't want to get into this because they think that what if it gets banned? They'll be jailed and stuff like that. But still, yes, I want to invest, so let me buy it in cash and be off the record. If the government regulates this, I won't take that route. I'll probably go to an exchange, get myself KYC verified, and pay through my bank account. So I think that's changing. And the users which are growing in India, the 5.5-7 million users are coming all from KYC verified exchanges. They are not. I mean, of course they are on record. That's why I know this number. And also exchanges like Binance, OKX, and Bitfinex. They are all on their toes. They are just looking at this market, trying to come in. Binance acquired WazirX, an Indian exchange, a few months ago, to have a better grip in the Indian space. So it's going in the right directions. Wright brothers did not have the pilot's license. It's always innovation first and regulations later. So
I mean,
I'm hoping for some good news in the coming few months. Go ahead.
When we're going to start seeing more development out of India, that's what we want to see as well. I mean, you guys have got an incredibly
huge population, 1.3 billion people, and out of that, over 50% of the population. I mean, the median age is like 35, so they don't have a problem in understanding what Bitcoin is. Like our generation knows how digital assets work. So I don't think so there'll be a problem. If it is regulated, I think India would be the hotspot.
It's good that we have you in a space Siddharth, to actually help have the right representation for to educate them, especially the regulators, right? And I mean, what is 5.5 million out of like 1.3 billion, right? That's what you said, right? Yeah. So it's the percentage very low in that aspect. So man, I mean, this is great, great to hear that you've been helping to bring the space into the right order. Thanks, man, Siddharth. I guess I'm not going to go too much into India. I kind of sidetrack a bit basically, but I kind of thought since we have Siddharth, we kind of want to hear some insights on the market itself. This is what I love about crypto, right? It's all over the world. If people come together, we talk about crypto, what's happening in their space, and you will notice a common denominator, right? That is what we're talking about over here. Interesting.
Absolutely. In fact, today morning we had a webinar where the CFO of Binance, Vizao, and BitCup's founder, Jirayut, he was also there. So we understood from them that they all have faced these regulatory hurdles, but globally they see crypto as one. That Bitcoin is one Bitcoin, even in Singapore, even in Malaysia, even in India, even in US, it's one. So that is something which is common, and the crypto community, because of that, is the most widely, I would say, most connected community, because we all talk the same thing. There is no difference, even though there are differences in languages, but the fundamentals are one.
The jargon is the same.
One Bitcoin is one Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So we shouldn't be, I mean, when we say that, we shouldn't be afraid of the dollar prices at all, John. What do you think?
True. I mean,
We still need them, right? The space is still small. We're still growing. Let's be inclusive for that reason. Dunstan, don't put on the mask now. I know you have something to say. I'm gonna stop you there. We're gonna go to the next question first.
Yes.
I can so sense him wanting to wear the mask, but I'm gonna stop you there. We've talked about NFT last week. We've got about 15 more minutes or so. I do see some questions. Victor, we'll probably have this on another session. We'll invite Siddharth again if we can for another session. We hope that Siddharth will join us for another session. One of our panelists
Sure.
just asked a
Would be
question.
my pleasure.
Yeah, he's asking some questions about India. So he's another brains that we'll be inviting on the show for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Actually, I think he's taking a respite, a break in between. I don't want to tire out all my panelists, right? All my coffee drinkers. You're seeing my face every week. You're just gonna be tired of me, basically. John, we wanted to ask you about NFT, right? We were having this conversation earlier. We were talking about NFTs, like meme coin and things like that. And you heard about Dunstan talking about NFT, and share your journey. You were sharing something earlier. Yeah, come.
Yeah, I mean, okay, to circle back. Yeah, I mean, so NFT was a thing like a while back, but as a concept. But it was one of those things that I think a lot of people have been sleeping on, and in the background, it's been kind of building, and it has there's a lot of, NFT to me was always, your World of Warcraft or your Fortnite skins, these kinds of things. That's just one application in many for NFT. Anyway, so last week, 2 weeks ago when I first came on the show, like every so often Dunstan would whisper NFT, and I took the subliminal message, and I basically did some research, and one of the first things came up was this meme token, right? Meme. And I opened up a few tabs, whatever. I got a few weeks to look at this. I got a month or so to look at this. Right? It's not going to blow up right now, is it? Anyway, famous last words. I let the tabs are still open on my laptop. You can. They're actually still here, right? I didn't even bother to bookmark them and come back. And the meme token was up something like 1,500%. And then in the big dip, it just took a 50%. Hit. So it's just right. Yeah. So and it's crazy. Within 1 week since the last time, I wasn't on the show last week, but in that week we've seen like DeFi blow up. All of a sudden, everybody in DeFi, the big names, we're talking about Andre and various different accounts, the stupid Twitter handles, right? All suddenly talking about NFT overnight, right? And then meme, obviously, it was up 1,500% because Andre was shilling it, and you started seeing Twitter pop up with these like influencer, like I don't know, like those like cards, like Trump cards or whatever. Influence like Kobe and Andre and Sam back. I mean, these are the few I've seen, right? The guy from FTX is his own one as well. So meme is, I think what's kind of smart about meme, as far as I can see, is they basically just taken a DeFi concept and attached it to NFT in the sense that the meme token basically is a governance token where you get access to farm NFT credits, which then allows you to go and create so you get these credits or points or whatever they call it, and that gives you the fuel to create your own NFTs, right? And then I guess it's whether the market likes it or not. Right. So I mean, obviously, it's on trend. Everyone's quite bullish. There's a lot of money flowing around in the space. So the tokens themselves have really, really ripped. What I'd like to ask Dunstan about is really why he's so bullish on the space. And some of the things we've been seeing, with that meme token, like, I mean, I know it went up 1,500% and it's still up, but I mean, it literally got killed with when all the DeFi's dropped as well, like dropped 50%. And then some people start saying, "Oh, the NFT bull market lasted one day." Obviously, that's rubbish. But you can see how
that was the statement for today, man.
you see how far how the sort of the sentiment can change on a sixpence as soon as a few markets drop, right? But so my question is, one of the things I have seen in this week, the highs and lows of NFT all in one week, is that there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, I can just download it," right? Is it just a case of people just have to get used to owning digital things? And I guess that if that's the case, it applies to, we've already made some of that journey with cryptocurrency. Now we're talking about digital art, and people have to understand that even though you can download and their copyright and all that, because I think we're our generation and the generation that follows us will grow to see digital art in just the same way as a painting on the wall. But right now, this minute, there's enough people, I think, that will say, "Oh, I could just download that. Why do I need to buy a token for it? Like, it just seems ridiculous."
Here's
so
the
I think
thing, right?
I think it's a bit early. So I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? So maybe I would like to share some thoughts. Dunstan, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I love the game, the MMORPG on the Jedi Star Wars thing. You have this character, they go into this virtual world. And not only that, I think that's just one of the gameplays. Other games also have the similar eco space environment. You get to have your own place, right? They give you a place to stay. And then you have all these decorative things that you buy to put into the space. And that becomes your own space. And that's what makes it unique. And you can even invite people to pay a visit, to come into your own home, virtual home per se, basically. And I do see
Are you
that.
saying like you are inviting a girl back into your house?
Like Ready Player One.
You're horrible. I hope my wife is not watching this, man. Stupid Dunstan.
Yeah, boy, he just invited a virtual female into his virtual house.
How can you tell him to do?
I invited a female Jedi, yes.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know, right? He could have been catfish. So that's just gross, man.
Never know, man. Yeah. It could be a female avatar that's by a guy. You never know, right?
Yeah,
So,
by a fat, oily man. Like hairy, oily, fat man. Like, oh, gross.
watching too much surrogates, really, basically. Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting because those items, if can be customized and be brought into those worlds, I think it will bring a new revenue source and a new industry opportunity to open up to these gaming companies, actually. And if I'm not mistaken, some of the gaming companies are already using blockchain NFTs for that matter. So, yeah, whether it's downloadable or not, I think that's still very experimental at this point of time. If I were to download a picture from a famous artist, can I print it out? So I kind of went through this motion before, and those were some of the criteria that the artists will ask in terms of, do they generate an A4 size, canvas for you so that you can print out an A4. Anything more, it will be pixelated. So those are some of the technical hurdles that I think the NFTs would have to go through as the space grows further.
But actually, the NFT have already gone through these hurdles. Okay, so maybe what I would like to say about NFTs are this. Think of it this way: as a human, we tend to like to have occupations. What do I mean by occupations? Things, meaningful ways to occupy our time. right? Like it could be having a pet, it could be having a plant, it could be collecting stuff and so on, or like exercising and such. Now, like if you notice in like for the older generation, all the way even up to now, right? There is one thing that they have in common. They like to collect stuff. Correct.
It's human nature, man.
It depends. It's like some people like to collect like leaves and whatever, and then put them in a pile or whatever, just for a short period. But they still collect. Some people like to collect like those like this like the one that Lassie has behind him. What's that
What?
called? The
It should
LPs.
be
Yeah.
you. It should
Yeah.
be you. Behind you. Look behind you, man.
like me myself, obviously I like to collect like figurines, collectibles and so on, like cards, collectible cards, collectible digital representative of weapons and so on. So yeah, obviously I am a person that loves to collect game stuff, but it is not just about that, you see. Because now anything on earth, right, can be digitalized using AR, using VR, using our imaging tech, and right now it's extremely easy for an artist, right, to create a digital art and have it at a resolution so high that they can print out a real size portrait of that art anytime. Yeah, think of the amount of convenience we have there, and the artist can state in the smart contract that, and because these are NFTs, you can mint out only a certain number. Scarcity can be created. But when we have things like when we have old art like Mona Lisa and so on, do you all know that people actually create NFTs of not NFTs but copies of Mona Lisa?
Yep.
It has been done throughout ancient history.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, and most people can't even tell the difference between these people call them fakes, but what I see is these are really real artists also. For them to be able to replicate an art without taking a photo and just be able to paint out and draw out, they in fact they might be even better than the original artist in that sense, because it takes a lot of skill to be able to replicate exactly what somebody else has done. Now, so the NFT allowed that process to be done and commercialization to be done, and more people to be able to access these assets, whether or not it's an art piece, whether or not it's a digital representative of a Lamborghini collectible, for instance. It could be a real, like it's a real in a dealership and so on, but yet a digital collectible can be created out of it. We have so many different aspects, right? And at the end of the day, what I'm looking at is this: anything that there is a demand, right, there will definitely be a value. And I kept on whispering NFT to the communities, to the public, and to everyone, including John, is because I already know that that's coming, and the next wave is coming. Whether or not it's going to be a DeFi NFT or just an NFT, it doesn't matter. The next, the next valuable thing is going to be the NFT. It is definitely that. Like we have cartoon artists, right? That their art can be immortalized on a blockchain.
Yep.
And people will not lose access to it as long one node on the blockchain exists.
Yeah. That's the beauty about it. No
Yeah,
fire.
so it's no longer like all those old databases you see, where people somebody else can delete it.
Are we gonna have a gas problem?
The gas problem is because we are still thinking of Ethereum.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of, we're talking for DeFi. This is an open question for DeFi as well, right? The scaling. Everyone's talking about layer 2, right? What is layer 2? I haven't
the
even
latest
looked
one.
up, right? But I mean, like, how are we going to solve this congestion problem? I mean, no one's that the guys that are innovating are not going to bother waiting for Ethereum 2.0. Where are we going next? for NFT and for
either other blockchains in which like people like us are building like on our end, or there are or bridges. What layer 2 does is this: all we need to do is actually have a rail on top, and have the rail consolidate all the like a certain number of transactions, then do all the transactions at one go, rather than you know have multiple transactions. So that will help to reduce the load on the blockchain and will help to reduce the gas cost in a sense.
That's similar to Lightning Network, isn't it?
Absolutely similar to Lightning Network. Even SegWit, like keeping the witness out of the transaction, something like that can be used.
Correct.
Yeah.
So these are just different ways in which these are just different innovative solutions. At the end of the day, I don't think that gas will be our major problem. It is a current problem now, I agree. Ethereum itself being the main use blockchain is because I will be honest here. Why people use Ethereum is also because most of them don't know how to code the smart contracts on the other blockchain.
Yep.
Yeah, that's as simple as it is. I've consistently been saying, even on my other live streams in my other programs, the smart contract language in Ethereum is finicky. What I mean by finicky is this: you change some parameters, right? It looks as if it's supposed to do this thing, but it suddenly goes and do something totally out of tension. It's unexpected. So
as you turn left, you got turn right. In other words.
Yeah. So this is definitely not suitable. Not suitable as a smart contract solution. You see. And of course, because of architecture-wise, it's an old architecture. It's an old blockchain already. So, which is why there's a lot of congestion. They couldn't scale and so on. Like you know, whatever promises and such, I suspect, like what I've been saying in the last few episodes, that most probably Ethereum 2.0 might later on just be Polkadot.
Now, there you have it, guys. We've kind of
I should be doing this. I could be Polkadot. yeah. So we will. Yeah. So it's just a bit of just to make sure that yes.
Today, our dear shitstirrer only wore the mask one time. Yes, but then again, it's all about and there you have it, guys. At the end, we've come to the end of the show for this coffee session. I don't want to prolong the time too long. I want to thank everyone here, John, Siddharth. Thank you for coming. To be with us on this Wednesday night. Dunster, as always, glad to always have you with me. We hope that we can have you more often. Okay, so guys, I'm going to ask him to come every session. Okay. Yeah. I hope you can hear that. Okay. Yeah.
I am gonna do this every session and talk about NFTs.
Yeah. So let's hope. I hope you guys all had fun. And I hope you guys really enjoyed the session. Do stay tuned with us. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel for every Wednesday.
My NFT.
He's being a degenerate now. Stop it. Yeah. I would hope to invite the same guys again to meet me, my other panelists, coffee drinkers. We are Siddharth's in India, John's in KL. We are in Singapore. Yeah, we can always do this, right? Yeah, just having a cheers to you guys as well. Yeah. I was telling Sida you should have brought in the chai tea, basically from
next time.
You should bring the chai tea and show us that you're there.
Absolutely. This time, apologies, I'm in the car and not very visible.
No worries.
Next time I'll be at my right place.
No worries.
Drive safe.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, be safe, guys. As always, we'll see you as soon as we can. I hope we can do a live session, like literally by having all the panelists together. But that day, I think because of the MCO in Malaysia, we'll probably go see our Malaysian brothers next year. Yes. So on that note, we'll end off the session. Thank you guys I hope you guys enjoyed the session. I'll see you guys
Thank you
on
so
next
much.
Wednesday.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
guys. Really good.
Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
Wesley. Bye, John. Bye, John.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
bye, Siddharth.
Night.
Have fun.
Take care.
Bye,
Have a
John.
good week.
Have fun.
Bye-bye. Take care.